This week, I interview Rachel Sheerin. Rachel is a happiness and success keynote speaker and corporate trainer. She has a brand new podcast, F This S. I'll link in the description. Also, personally, I feel like Rachel is a fantastic social media follow, so I'll include her LinkedIn in the description as well. If you don't finish this interview with a smile on your face, you need to check your pulse. We'll get in that interview now. Rachel, thank you so much for being on this week's Office Hours. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dustin. I am so pumped.
So we have a lot of students who watch this, undergrad, grad students, students in life. What is your definition of success? They're looking for success in their life. What is your definition?
Great question. I would say, well, I'll tell you what my definition was, and I'll tell you my updated definition, or my original one was basically crushing it and exceeding every goal that everyone else had set out for me. There was a lot of pressure to exceed and go above and make other people proud. And I thought, okay, success is going to be taking this checklist and taking these markers and just blowing past it. And I did. And it was awesome for about a split second. And then I was like, what next? And then people would set new goals, or maybe they wouldn't. And it just never felt that good. And so long story short is my new definition of success, which has not steered me wrong, is success is the ability to do what you want, when you want, for whom you want, with who you want. And in a big way, it's happiness. It's the, beautiful connection between happiness being a precursor to success. A lot of people think that success will make you happy. And I was first in line for that idea, but it is not true at all. Happy people sell more, make more, promoted more, are well-liked, have better sex, make more points. If you're a basketball player listening to this and you're happy, guess what? You're making better free throws, okay? And the limitlessness to happiness and the correlation to that of your success, it's beautiful.
So Rachel, we try to get super tactical, like what tactical can we do? And students, we have a finite amount of budget, especially right now with what's going on financially in the country. What's something that under $100 that has brought you happiness, whether that be professionally or personally?
One book that I would say is a must read. If you are a high performer that is looking to make really X unlimited amount of income, and you are a female listening to this, I would say You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Jen Sincero is an incredible author. She wrote the bestseller, You Are a Badass, but that book is great. Her second book is better, and it's all around money mindset.
So Rachel, I love following you. Put a lot of great content out about burnout. Burnout is a real thing I've faced before. It's a real thing a lot of people face. What advice would you give students who may be feeling burnout right now?
Yeah, well, burnout is real, first of all. Burnout happens to high performers. Average people don't burn out. They are just living average lives. They're punching in, they're punching out, like the time clock idea. So congratulations. If you're burned out or feeling burned out, you are exceptional, and I'm sorry. But I would say, one of the things I think on the first steps to acknowledging or healing or preventing burnout is just to acknowledge really the reasons burnout happens. It really comes down to three things. It happens because circumstances change. It happens because relationships change, or it happens because you change. And that last one's a big one. But when you think about it, relationships and circumstances changing, that's actually been a very big theme of 2020 in general. So if you're watching this when this episode comes out, there's always going to be a relationship or circumstances that's changing around you that's going to have some impact on your happiness, on your performance, on your mindset, on your ability to love the work that you're doing and love the mission that you're on. But the challenge is how much are you going to let the outside world affect you?
One thing I say in class, like one of the things I say in like first week of classes, I say, okay, put your hand up if you want to get into sales, right? And like one or two put their hand up. And I say, okay, the other 90% of you are lying, because no matter what you get into, you're going to sell, right? It doesn't matter.
With the truth, harsh.
Yeah, so you will sell. So I know you talk about sales. Can you give us one tactical thing to help us sell ourselves, whether it be interviews or self-branding, selling online, whatever that may be? What's just one tip you could give us?
Well, Dustin, first of all, like just bravo, because it's, I mean, like deeply having the mindset of, you know, you either hate sales or you're gonna like successfully sell. Like you have to sell. A tip that I would say when it comes to selling is, you know, one of the things I love to talk a lot about is I have a background as a behavioral analyst. And so I'm always looking at, you know, what are people wearing on their sleeves? What can we know about them to say, you know, how can we create a relationship? How can we have trust? And one of the things I think that's easy to spot is what pace are people operating at? Are they a slow paced person or are they a fast paced person? And when you're selling to somebody, it is appropriate to adjust to their pace. If you're listening to this and you are an introverted person that likes to operate at a slow pace, you might want to maybe take a shot after listening to me. You know, you might want to take a nap. You might want to mute me. I get it. At the end of the day, when you get excited, when you get extroverted people, you know, we tend to come together and we tend to have a connection of understanding. The same thing's true for slower paced folks. When you take the time, when you slow down, when you soften your words, and you understand that you cannot run to a sale, but you can walk together down the road of selling yourself, of connecting, of the sale of an interview, the sale of a first date. By the way, I always love the idea of a first date as a sale. I mean, do you like me? Do I like you? And this is one of the biggest sales of your entire life, potentially. But when you think about selling, are you fast paced or are you slow paced? And who are you selling to? What's their pace? And can you adjust yourself appropriately to that?
And when you bring up the first date, if I could say any moment that you full with stress, I would say an interview and possibly that first date. It brings about stress. So what can we do? What can we learn about stress? Sometimes I say stress is actually good, right? There are good components of stress, but what advice could you give our students about stress and how to manage stress?
Totally. I think that stress really does a great job of highlighting your fears. Whatever you are stressed out about, you got to say, well, what am I really scared of happening? And when you start being curious with yourself and less judgmental about the stress, I should be able to handle this. Why didn't I do this? Why am I such a procrastinator? By the way, I have no clue why you're such a procrastinator. Why am I such a procrastinator? I just like pressure. I have poor habits. I'm not sure. But you know what? I don't lean into the stuff I'm not good at. I lean into the stuff I'm great at. And that's just the strategy that's been successful in my life. But when it comes to stress, what are you scared of? And when I've been more curious and open to the answer of that, you know, when I'm stressed out about my email, you know, and maybe the inbox responses are piling up, what that really shows me, what am I stressed about? What am I fearful about? I'm fearful about me missing great opportunities. What am I fearful about? I'm fearful about proving everyone that I can't run a business correct, you know, and then I start to be able to soothe those fears and say, Rachel, my God, woman, like, no, look at what you've done. And, you know, here's the thing. Sometimes those fears can be handled by a new habit, a new assistant, a new app of technology, a new, just an adjustment in the way that I'm running my business. But you know what? That would never happen if I was just like, stress, you know, power through, like hammer it down. That helps no one.
Rachel, I tell you what, we're going to get to our last question. Before we get into that, I want to say, just listening to you throughout this interview, you have me ready to move a mountain. You are quite the motivator. You have a skill, Rachel, for sure.
Thank you, my friend.
So with that skill, I'm giving you $4 million, right? That's a 30-second commercial for the Super Bowl. So I've bought you a 30-second Super Bowl commercial that you can do whatever you want with. What are you selling or communicating or teaching about in those 30 seconds?
So my first reaction is Cooler Ranch Doritos. It's the ultimate Super Bowl snack. I don't know. It just came to me. But since this is my commercial and I'm not currently sponsored by Pepsi Frito-Lay, you know what I would do is, this might sound corny to some out there, but I would do a massive compilation of people from all over the world smiling. I would do like just a smiling submission contest, and it would have music behind it, and it would have maybe the sentiment and a voiceover of just, you know, how happiness truly is the root of success and how smiling is truly contagious. And it is one of those things that costs zero to do, but that almost always improves everyone around you, including yourself. And
thank you again so much for being on the show today.
thanks, Dustin. Have a great one.